Welcome aboard TED Talks Cruises, the podcast where wanderlust meets wisdom. Join our two hosts on a cruising adventure full of laughter, learning, and luxury. Ken Conan is a cruise rookie. He's wide-eyed, full of questions, and maybe still figuring out which end is aft. Ted Blank is a seasoned cruise expert who's been there, done that, and he even has a preferred deck chair. Each week, Ted and Ken dive into the world of cruising, from picking the right itinerary to insider tips, their personal insights, and behind-the-scenes secrets. Whether you're planning your first cruise or you're a platinum tier cruiser looking for fresh perspectives, TED Talks Cruises brings relatable stories, helpful advice, and plenty of good vibes. So get ready to laugh, learn, and set sail. No passport required.
Hey, welcome out to today's show. It's TED Talks Cruises. I've got our local expert with us. As always, it's Mr. Ted Blank. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Doing great, doing great. Just off a fresh event last night. Had a ton of fun at your client appreciation event.
It was very fun. Yeah, we had a nice client appreciation event. We had some great presentations from Regent Seven Seas Cruises and AMA Waterways. And so, you know, she really, I think people came in with bucket lists and they got longer, unfortunately, which of course, you know, that's our secret intention. But she talked about some fantastic trips to Egypt and the Mekong River and the Chobe River in Africa, where you can actually do a cruise safari. And then their brand new cruises that AMA Waterways has on the Magdalena River in Colombia, in South America. Brand new, brand new. Yeah. So really, really kind of an exciting opportunity. And we learned about some Regent cruises to Alaska, Canada, New England, and one that we actually talked about on the podcast before, the immersive overnights cruises that Regent offers, where the ship spends the night in port and you get 2 full days to explore each destination. So we chatted about a great Mediterranean cruise as well.
That was fun to talk about. I was in the back of the room kind of keeping track of the bartending duties, right?
Yeah, you were kind of the honorary bartender.
I was. It was great.
Unofficial bartender. Unlicensed bartender. Maybe.
That's right. Keep it cool. Keep it cool.
Don't tell anybody.
And back there with one of your clients, and we were listening to the presentation about the immersive Regent, and he was like, well, wow, this sounds really good. I go, Ted and I were just talking about this last week. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a really neat program, and you know, if you go on the website, we'll pop the link to that cruise in the notes on the show here too. But yeah, it is a neat opportunity. Fun. And you know, Rome and Florence and Monte Carlo, Barcelona, and Mallorca. So 11-night cruise, lots of overnights in there. So that's really nice. Fun. Then they have 2 days at sea sprinkled in there just to kind of give you a chance to catch your breath and relax and enjoy the beauty of the ship as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. What's on our list today? I heard something about
gears sailing. A little bit. Yeah, so we're gonna leave the motors at home, and we're going to talk about a tall ship cruise in the Caribbean coming up this later in 2026.
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. And when you talk about tall ship, are we talking about literally sails like, I don't know, 80 to 100 feet or more in the air kind of story? Yeah.
So we are talking about a genuine reproduction of one of those tall ships that you saw. Gosh. You know, you've maybe seen one in a museum, like South Street Seaport in New York has one, a reproduction of that. So it was built in the 1990s, very, very authentic. A company's called Star Clippers.
Okay.
And so the owner is a sail aficionado. And so his dream was to kind of resurrect the glory days of sailing under sail.
Yeah.
And this isn't a modern sailing ship with computerized sails or anything like that. When the sails go up, people are pulling and the pulleys are creaking. And so, you know, it's a really neat tall ship experience, but it's not a barefoot cruise.
Sure.
Right. It's a nice cruise.
Yeah.
So, you know, great food, great service, nice cabins. You know, you're not sleeping in a bunk bed or anything like that, but it's a really unique, you know, cruise product that most people have never heard of.
Yeah.
And it's always kind of fun if you're in port on one of these tall ships and you come into port. Everybody wants to know all about it.
Oh yeah,
it is really, really incredible. So super neat, super kind of unknown. You know, you really impress your friends if you took a cruise on a tall ship.
Yeah, this is great. This is great. I cannot wait to hear about this. I am a sailor from back in the day. We used to race our sailboat when we had one years ago on Lake Minnetonka, a big lake in Minnesota, and I love sailing. My dad had me sailing when I was probably knee high to a squirrel.
Yeah,
I love sailing. I can't wait to hear about this.
So this is amazing. And if you are into sailing, you got to put a Star Clippers cruise on your bucket list.
Yeah.
No option, got to put it on there.
Yep.
But this is a cruise that's actually in the Caribbean. And so Star Clippers has 3 ships, and they spend the summer in the Mediterranean. They cross the Atlantic and spend the winter in the Caribbean, or actually Costa Rica.
Oh, okay.
So I had a chance to go to Costa Rica last year, and it was probably 8 or 9 years ago I went on a Star Clippers cruise in the Mediterranean as well. So I've seen kind of both sides of it. But,
Nice.
a little piece of trivia about Star Clippers. Those transatlantic crossings, 12 to 14 days, maybe one stop. Those are their most popular cruises. They sell out right away.
That. Really?
I think there are a lot of people who have crossing the ocean under sail on their bucket list. People go back year after year after year.
That is really cool.
So yeah, but anyway, this is not that. Yeah. This has, we have plenty of ports in there. And one of the great things about a Star Clippers cruise, everything else aside, is these are small ships.
Yeah.
So this particular ship, which is actually named the Star Clipper, carries 166 passengers.
That's all.
So it's very small by modern cruise ship standards.
That's like smaller than a river cruise ship,
It
right?
is. It is actually. It would probably fit right in with river cruise ships in terms of capacity. And so you get to go to some ports that really you don't normally get to visit on a Caribbean cruise. Yeah. And that's one of, I think, the neatest things, because, some of those big Caribbean port destinations, they're just overcrowded.
Yeah.
And you get a couple of those 5,000 passenger ships in port, and, that's all she wrote.
I've been in Cozumel, and I've been at a resort where I was staying at a land resort, and I remember seeing them come in and thinking, wow, this is going to change the island today.
A little bit. Yeah, completely.
And it's just like, whew.
Yeah. And so, you're going to a lot of ports that are, they aren't even really a port. You're kind of going to a beach.
Really?
And so you'll get off the ship. They use little Zodiacs, which are those inflatables to shuttle you back and forth. A lot of times they'll just drive right up on the beach, and you can go snorkeling. They actually have water sports are included.
Oh, my
gosh. You can go water skiing and snorkeling and paddleboarding and, things like that, all included in the price. So, we're talking about a very relaxed Caribbean itinerary that's going to get you a lot of time on the beach, in the water, and a couple little interesting places you can visit as well.
Wow. You're speaking my language right now, my friend.
This
is all stuff I love.
I can kind of hear Jimmy Buffett in the background, can't you?
Oh, yes. Yeah. I can feel a cocktail coming my way. I mean, this is sounding great.
Yeah, so this particular cruise, it's an 11-night cruise.
Okay.
They have cruises in the Caribbean that run from 7 to 11 to 14 nights. And this ship is based in Grenada, the island of Grenada. Okay. So quite a ways south in the Caribbean. And the reason that the ship is there is because there's actually a real harbor. So it can come alongside the dock. They can restock with food, things like that. It's easier to get the luggage on and off the ship and all that. But sometimes the ship won't dock. It'll actually stay at anchor to give you a chance to use those Zodiacs to go to shore. So if it were me and I was thinking about it, and this particular cruise is in February of 2026, I'd be thinking about maybe spending a couple nights in Grenada beforehand.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful resorts there. And again, not the massive 2,000 room all-inclusives.
Yeah.
Small little boutique resorts. There's a really nice sandals resort there. It's a great island to visit.
And is this along the chain? So my wife is heading to the Dominicans soon for a little trip this week. And I just looked at that chain of islands, and I thought, I didn't realize how far south they are. Is it along that?
Keep going south. Yep, keep going south into the Antilles Islands.
Okay.
Really, and they call them the Leeward and the Windward Islands. But there are a series of islands. St. Lucia, Barbados are in that cluster as well. Okay. So you're quite a ways south, probably about a 4-hour flight from Miami to get to Grenada, 3.5, 4 hours. So it's a ways.
It's a hike.
And for folks who are here in the Twin Cities, you can fly to Grenada on Delta. They do fly via Atlanta. So it is possible to do that. American flies there, United flies there. It's a pretty accessible island as well.
Wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And that's where we start our journey.
Yeah, that's where we start the journey.
Nice.
And then you're going to head off to a lot of islands that I'll name. And if you can't find them on a map, don't feel guilty.
Really?
Some of them are pretty small. You'll spend a couple days on the island of Tobago. And Tobago is part of Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad is a big island. It's got big airport, big city. But Tobago is this tiny little sister island. And the only way to get there is to take a ferry from Trinidad or to take the little puddle jumper airplane across or to do a cruise like this.
Wow.
So my guess is that Tobago probably gets 20 or 30 cruise ship calls per year. And it's these types of small ships. So you'll have a chance to go ashore, explore the beaches. If there's a little more, if there's a little more substantial town, they will have organized excursions, nature hikes, things like that you can purchase on board. But generally, it's just kind of laid back, relax, go to the beach, enjoy some time there, put on the snorkel fins, do some snorkeling. People can scuba dive as well. The cruise line does work with some different dive operators. So if you want to scuba dive, we can let you know where that's possible as well. So 2 days in Tobago.
Okay.
Then back up to Grenada to a little hidden beach. So not the main town, but a little hidden beach. And they describe it in their brochure as paradise. So we'll just kind of leave it there.
We'll leave it at that.
We'll leave it there.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And then into the Grenadine Islands.
Okay.
And the Grenadines are part of the country of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And one of the islands you will go to is an island that's pronounced Bequia. It's spelled Bequia.
Okay.
And to give you an idea of how isolated and remote and untouristed it is, it was the favorite island destination of Princess Margaret, Queen Elizabeth's sister.
Wow.
And so very, very exclusive. Not a lot of tourists. She wasn't going there to get photographed by the paparazzi.
Sure.
So beautiful, beautiful island paradise that you'll probably be the only tourist there besides a few people staying in a pretty shishi resort there as well. So you get to go places that, you might see a big cruise ship on the horizon sailing by, but they aren't coming anywhere near the Grenadines.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So 2 days in the Grenadines, beautiful, gorgeous islands, wide, white, sandy beaches, and then up to Martinique, one of the French islands.
I haven't heard of any of these.
Yeah,
this is crazy,
I know. Seriously,
right?
get up the map. It's quite impressive. So Martinique is sort of the Paris of the Caribbean.
Okay.
So very French atmosphere. So Tobago, the Grenada, St. Vincent's have a little bit of British influence in them, but Martinique very French. Okay. And so you can have a lovely French lunch in a cafe, go for some hikes. Again, explore the beaches. You kind of get the theme that we're coming back to.
Yeah, I like it.
Spend some time at the beach.
I like it.
And then up to St. Lucia, which is a bigger island.
Definitely heard of that.
But there's a cruise ship port where the big cruise ships dock, and you're going to anchor off this little tiny town near the Piton Mountains. And if you happen to watch the TV series The Bachelor, that was set in St. Lucia once at a really beautiful resort that has a view of these twin volcanoes that are kind of like the most iconic site in St. Lucia.
Nice.
And so you dock by a little town.
Sounds
you can
beautiful.
walk around there. You can actually go visit a banana plantation. How bananas are cultivated. You can go do that. You can actually see their volcanic hot springs that have bubbling mud. So like Yellowstone, the bubbling mud and that terrible sulfur smell.
Yes.
Or if you're really adventurous, you can actually hike the Piton Mountains.
Wow.
Now, I probably would just be having a beer on the beach. But if you want to, you can hike the Piton Mountains as well.
I'm with you. I'd be at the beach. I'd be like, oh, look at those people. What a fun hike for them. Sip, 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 sip.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah. Then the island of Barbados, another larger port of call. And then back for kind of a day at the beach in the Grenadines before you end up back in Grenada. So 11 days. And I would say that probably 99.5% of the folks listening have never been to any of these islands. It's just a really, really neat, totally off the beaten path, that charming Caribbean that still exists without the crowds, without the big resorts, without the big mega cruise ships.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit more about, so I'm picturing myself on this cruise, and I'm wondering, when we're under sail, can I go up and kind of be on the deck? Are there places on the deck where I can maybe just sit and have a cocktail and just watch? Because I just, again, love sailing, and I'd love to just watch it happening, right? As we're cruising through to this next port. Are those?
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to start with the sail away. Okay. And they have a theme song they play. I won't spoil it for you, but they actually raise the sails when you leave port.
Yeah.
And you can stand up on deck and watch.
Nice.
And if you're, feeling the love, you can actually help pull the ropes to pull the sails up.
Definitely.
You don't have to.
I'll be there.
You don't have to work for your passage.
I'm in.
And then there are little pools up on the deck.
Oh, they do?
Yeah. They have deck chairs. There's a cocktail lounge on the ship. It's a very civilized way to travel.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they'll do, weather permitting, is they'll actually let you hop in one of the ship's tenders. And when the ship is sailing under sail, you can go off and sail around it and take some photos or video of this incredibly majestic sight of this beautiful tall ship under full sail. I mean, you don't see that anywhere else. So, yes. And most days will include, these distances aren't great, but sailboats don't go very fast.
No.
So you'll have some sailing in there as well, where you just can kind of sit there. And one of the neat things you can do is you can actually climb the mast and go up into the rigging.
Really?
And you know how sailboats have that piece of the bow that sticks out in front?
Sure.
Where they have nettings on there. You can actually go sit there and watch the world go by.
Oh my gosh.
So it's just totally relaxed, totally civilized.
That's awesome.
Beautiful, beautiful ship with gorgeous deck, watching the sunset in the Caribbean, having your rum punch. That's what it's for.
This sounds like a blast. And so another question, just a follow up to that. When I think of the cabins and suites, are those similar to what we would find on a river ship? Are they a little bit smaller or larger, or what's kind of just a high level?
So I would say that's probably the major difference between this and a regular cruise ship.
Okay.
Is that the staterooms are smaller.
Okay.
They're designed really to fit kind of into the hull of the ship.
Okay.
So there are a couple suites that are quite nice and quite spacious. The regular staterooms are pretty small. Okay. And the bathroom is pretty small. No tub to soak in, no balcony to sit on. You're going to go up and be it truly is a cruise where you won't spend any time in your stateroom. Nice place to sleep, spacious,
perfect,
comfortable bed, but you're not spending time there in the stateroom. You're spending time out and about.
Perfect. That's kind of what I was thinking too. I was thinking if I'm there, I'm going to be up on the deck. I'm going to be in one of the, like you said,
and it's
the pool,
one flight of stairs up, boom, you're there. It's
right.
such a small ship that it's almost like you're almost on a personal yacht.
Yeah.
It's not quite that, but it definitely has that feeling to it.
I was thinking when you were talking about the tenders circling around the boat or getting some video, I'm going to have this big long stick with my GoPro and I'm going to be underwater with it. And then I'm going to come out.
Oh, there you go.
I've got some great shots I'm going to bring back from this, Ted. I'm already like picturing it in my creative brain.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. One of the other things that we should probably talk about is food, don't you think?
Well, being that we're both a couple foodies, we would be remiss if we didn't.
We would be very remiss, and I know we get some feedback from our fans that they enjoy us talking about the food. So I think that's actually one of the highlights of Star Clippers. Yeah, so they're a German company. They're owned by Europeans. Okay, and so their food service, I would say, is kind of has a European flair to it. So there's a large dining room. Breakfast and lunch will be a combination buffet items you can order off the menu, open seating. Oftentimes they will actually have a barbecue on a beach or maybe up on the deck.
Of course.
So, just to take advantage of the beautiful, beautiful weather. And then dinner is a sit down meal. It's open seating, so you can sit with anybody you choose. Yeah. They tend to be larger tables. There aren't a lot of tables for two. So you'll probably end up dining with some folks. And the cuisine is, I would say it's really excellent. And especially if you have a chance to go tour the galley, don't blink or you miss it. It's pretty small. It is amazing the food that they turn out. Wow. And, it's all going to be very, very locally inspired. Sure. But it has a European flair to it. So it's just a little different than maybe, you're not going to see a lot of big steaks and potatoes or hamburgers and things like that. It'll have a little more of a European flair to it. A lot of seafood, of course, because you're in, the beautiful language, the beautiful oceans that are just rich in maritime resources, but they'll have other options as well, and they can certainly accommodate diets and special requests.
I was just going to ask
things like that.
My wife is she's not as adventurous with the food. She would say I am overboard with the food adventure. She loves a good club sandwich.
She loves a good club sandwich,
Caesar salad when she can. So I love that.
Yeah, so there's a good mix, and there's something for everybody.
That's
in
great.
there. I will say, not a cruise for kids.
Okay,
this is not at all a place for kids to go, and there's really not much entertainment on board. Sure. It's pretty homespun. They'll do trivia contests and things like that, but the evening entertainment is pretty limited. Okay. They've got a bar on the deck on the back of the ship. Gets a very active bar scene back there. Folks like to talk, and they have live music there as well, but it's pretty simple. There's no main theater where there's presentation. The presentations are actually done on the deck, and the cruise director hops up on a chair and talks to you.
Oh my
It's very, very laid
Love it.
back. It's a cruise line that's not all inclusive. So, gratuities, beverages, those are purchased. Okay. The prices I would say are very, very competitive. Okay. European prices. I mean, it was amazing how many bottles of wine they had on the menu for 20 euros or less. Really? So, it's not a place where you're going to break the bank on those kinds of things. And then excursions, of course, would also be something that there would be an extra charge for.
For sure.
But
sure.
a lot of times you're just going to the beach, and that's kind of all you want to do, and there is no charge for the water sports. So that's included in the price.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, I have to ask, because I'm a scuba diver as well, that I'm sure would be an excursion or an upcharge of a little bit. Right?
Correct. Yep.
Which I would expect. Can I assume that I would have a concierge, someone I could talk to, or a director of cruise that could say, hey, Ken, here's a couple ports we'll be going to and some dives that you could look at. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, they'll actually have dive excursions. So if you want to dive in a port, it'll be like, here are the details. And off you go.
Awesome.
Yeah. But if you don't want to dive, certainly don't have to.
Yeah.
You can sit on the beach. You can stay on the ship. You know, a lot to do. But you're just in these gorgeous, gorgeous, unspoiled places. I mean, when I was in Costa Rica on the cruise, oftentimes we would pull into a beach area.
Yeah.
And the people from the ship were the only people there. There's no one else.
Wow.
You know, and sometimes there are national parks or just kind of, you know, little islands. And so it was really, really cool.
That's amazing.
Now, you know, from a mobility perspective, there's no elevator on the ship. You know, the Zodiacs, you have to be able to climb in and climb out.
That's a great point.
You know, if you have some mobility challenges, this would probably not be a great cruise for you. But if you love the idea of that unspoiled Caribbean in a, you know, a really nice cruise under sail, this is the perfect opportunity for you.
This sounds amazing. Amazing. Quick question. Can you get a pre or post on this cruise?
Yes. So you could stay in Grenada.
Okay. Grenada.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And if you wanted to fly to another Caribbean island, we could certainly help you do that. It's actually pretty hard to get around the Caribbean. There are not a lot of internal flights, but we could sure help you set that up as well. But yeah, I'd maybe spend a couple days in Grenada beforehand and then, you know, head home after the cruise.
This is great. And is there a link that we can put?
Yeah, we'll pop a link in the description.
Great.
It's also was one of the cruises we featured in our newsletter. So if you're a newsletter subscriber, you maybe saw this. Yeah. And the dates, I should mention, the dates are February 7th through the 18th in 2026.
So coming up in a couple months.
And we do have a $150 per stateroom onboard credit if you book the cruise with our agency. That's a little added bonus for you. But you know, very, very competitive pricing, and I think it's a really neat opportunity. And if you're looking to get away from the winter, you know, the winter cold, and just don't want to deal with the crowds and the chaos of maybe a big ship cruise, this is a great way to go. And I guarantee you'll go back and try it again. Yeah, you'll probably be in the Mediterranean next year. It's a really neat experience.
I love it. Yeah, it's the usual. This one made the bucket list for me. As soon as you said sailing and Caribbean and Med, this is like, oh my gosh, what a dream trip.
Yeah, it is. It is really neat. And these islands, you know, there's kind of nothing there, and that's kind of the whole point. Right. So I think they're great. But they are, you know, they have people, they have attractions, they have nice little restaurants. I mean, it's just so fun to meet the people because, you know, they're not. You know, they don't have gift shops catering to tourists. Right. It's more if you're going to go have lunch on shore, you're going to the local restaurant and the locals are sitting there right with you. And you know the food is going to be good because on a small isolated island, if your food isn't good, you aren't going to make it. People will stay home. Lots of just fun little quirky things like that.
Yeah. The word gets around on those islands. It gets around
on those small islands really quick. Yeah, I don't think Princess Margaret would have put up with a bad restaurant anyway. So,
that's right. Yeah. How fun. And then what's the easiest way for folks that are interested in this or just other travel advice from you and your team? What's the easiest way to get a hold of you?
We'll put a link to our website, tedblanktravel.com, in the comments. And so you can click there, schedule an appointment with us, or you can click on the link in the newsletter, and that will also take you to an appointment scheduler. Just schedule an appointment and we'll chat with you about this or any other cruise you want to take.
I love it. Well, thank you for joining me. As always, there's a like and subscribe below. Please click on those if you'd be so kind. Ted Talks Cruises. It's been a pleasure as always. And again, another one that made the bucket list. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.